Welcome, M. Sullivan. Glad you could join us. I'm your foreclosure accountant, auditor. I have over 30 years of experience in the business, ex-CEO, CFO for Mortgage Guarantee based in Los Angeles. I've worked as a wholesale underwriter, as a private label aggregator. I've bought and sold over $1 billion in private label mortgages from all the majors, from B of A to Countrywide, sold, bought, and look forward to sharing with you, as we've done in the past, our perspectives and our views and what we believe is good substantive evidence that borrowers would want to consider and their attorneys should consider when bringing a foreclosure defense or looking for a offering compromise or even looking to quiet title, whatever it may be. We're here to help. And today we're going to talk about how to read a bond offering disguised in a servicing statement. That servicing statement is not what it appears, not at least in this case. This is a case we've reviewed before, and we're going to expand on it. It's a case in Minnesota for a very good client, and sorry this has to happen to him. What he's going through is his own. It's hell, and it's foreclosure that's extended over 15 years where no payments have been made. And you know that something's going on there when you're not making payments over that term. Long delays, as you can see here, long delays in foreclosing on a consumer household is a loss to a lender, no doubt, but it's also valuable consideration to a bond issuer and a holder. What do we mean by that? Let's find out. So what I want to do is give you a little quick study here. I want to give you a frame of reference so that you are familiar at least with the terms you're hearing. You may not have to immediately identify or calculate the numbers that I'm giving you. You can do that later. But I want you to be comfortable with the terms that are being used and how we arrived at these numbers. It's how we arrived at the numbers that's important. Then it's just as important for us to verify that those numbers are actually real. What I'm talking about here is summed up in this little example. Bill borrowed $1 from Ann. Bill gave back 25 cents on the spot and paid back 75 cents 12 months later. So you take a 12-month period, $1 borrowed, 25% was returned on the spot. 25% divided by $1 would be a 25% return. What Bill did was prepaid his interest up front. Prepaid interest. That's also considered a discount rate. Bill borrowed $1, but he only received 75 cents. 25 cents went back to Ann as interest. Now that 25%, what is that worth over 3 years? Well, if Bill paid back the 75 cents remaining at a quarter a year, that'd be 3 years. So that 25% divided by 3 would be a effective rate of 8.333 a year over 3 years, based on an upfront discount on $1 of 25% or 25 cents. Not hard, is it? Let's keep going. All right, now I would ask you to please stay with me here. Don't leave us. I'm going to make this quick. It's going to be to the point. You're not going to really appreciate the value. Nothing I said can properly introduce what I'm about to show you. It is compelling. It is highly questionable, unethical, maybe unlawful. I don't know. But you be the judge. You determine for yourself. The first impression of a consumer who hasn't made a payment in 5 or 10 years is, for lack of a better word, what's up? Deadbeat? Do we have problems here? Everyone would love to live in a house and not make payments, but it's not really the case. As we said, the time in the house that the consumer has not made a payment is where the sponsors of these programs, these legacy programs, are referring to him or her as a party in possession, and not a borrower, but a party in possession. In fact, the borrower becomes equity in these transactions. Nonetheless, let's take a look. Disguised bond sale by member banks as officers and directors. These are bond sales where the sponsor is the bank's officers and directors, and the same as a trustee in an indenture trust. The property is irrevocably granted and conveyed into trust to a trustee, third party, free of all liens and encumbrances, subject to the existing lien of record. Wait a minute, the existing lien of record was paid at closing. Nope, I don't think so. It was carried back, but not the point of this presentation. What I want to show you, this is how we tied the servicing statement into this transaction. The servicing statement was issued by a one Cenlar, and that was issued as of a cutoff date. I call it a cutoff date of 9/1/22, and that would be for a bond of 403,567.50. Now, when I say a bond offering servicing statement, I'm showing you my interpretation of the servicing statement. These line items here are what I've interpreted. I'm going to show you the servicing statement right after this. But we have a cutoff date of 9/1/22. That's the servicing statement that I did borrow from the servicing statement. The bond here is being offered at 403,567.50. That's my interpretation of what I believe is happening. I calculated a discount rate of 21.996, just shy of 22%. That discount equals 88,767.50. So if you take a bond for 403,567.5 and you discount it by 22%, 86,767.50, it'll give you the bond purchase price. It's called a bid or an ask price. That bond was purchased for 314,800. All right. Now we have a coupon here. The servicer provided us that as a rate. It's not a rate. It's what we call a coupon. That coupon's 6.5. Now, if I have a discount rate, here's simple math here. If you got a discount rate of 22% or 21.996, if you divide it by what the servicer is showing as the rate, or what I call a coupon, divide these two numbers, it'll give you the term for this particular valuation. And that term was 3.38 years. So I'm using a bond per annum or a bank per annum of 360 days per annum per year. And what you get here is 338 at 360 per annum is 1,218.22 days. You could round that to 1,218, but that's 3.38 years. That's what it calculates to. So what happened here is we're going from 9/1/22, date of the statement, back to 5/1/19. It's not a coincidence that it falls right on the first of the month. We're going back to 5/1/19 for the bond sale. And that bond is maturing, as you can see, in this month at 403,567.50. That means it would not be able to foreclose on this individual dating back to 2000, I think, 8. A loan made in 2006. I can't recall off the top of my head, but you're talking about a loan where no payments have been made, and as of 9/1/22, everything ties out for this next segment of discounting. And what's interesting is 9/1/22, they would have to wait before any foreclosure could take place until the expiration of this last segment of a bond. And sure enough, the foreclosure was set in October the following month, I believe 10/24/2022. That's when we did the other presentation. What the other presentation was made in regard to. So what you see here is a bond, 403,567, discounted 22%, 88,767. That would probably be held in an escrow account. We're going to see if we can find that for you. That'd be for a bid or ask price of 314,800 by the bond purchaser. So the bond purchaser is buying a bond for 314,800 that'll mature at 403,567. His yield will be right here. It'll be the 888,7675, or 22% at the end of the 3.38 year period. And again, that would tie out back to a bond sale, or the next segment of bond sale, which would be 5/1/19. Got that? All right, let's keep going. All right, now, so here we can see the way this bond lays out. All these numbers were taken from the servicing statement. You can see under class, what you have are the numbers that, again, were represented in the servicing statement as the loan balance, and then an escrow balance. You add those two together, and that's what you get as a amount due at maturity. We're creating a sinking bond fund now from these two values, where this group A is a bond that would have a maturity of 403,567.5, which is both of these numbers added, and that would be written down all the way to 88,767, which is your escrow balance on the servicing statement. And the escrow balance is appreciated by the 403,567, and that represents a whole loan transaction, or a whole loan sale of 1.06 execution, and that's where the negative amount comes in. In other words, what you have here is, in essence, I don't know if you can visualize this, but this was something I learned in UCLA Business School. It's a tic-tac-toe board for capitalizing and doing a down and dirty analysis. It allows you to value something almost instantaneously if you have a certain, just a couple of figures to work with. And of course, here we did. So the outstanding principal balance, added the escrow, gave us a discount rate, and that's the amount due at maturity. The amount due at maturity is offset by the outstanding balance, and that equals an appreciation rate of 88,767. And this one here would equal the value of the outstanding balance as a function or as a factored by 106 as a whole loan sale. So you can see with a sinking bond fund, we're going from 403 down to 88,767. And that 88,767 is contemporaneously or concurrently tracking Group A as a contra account or contra asset. Again, a sinking bond fund where we started 88,767 and it would mature at 403,567. So your margin here is, your value here is 403,567 at the end of the day, 28% discount. Your discount is factored or represented as 78% on 88,76750. And again, that 78 is not by chance. That is a programmer code. Programmers can't stand being off by a fraction or more. So you got the, again, due at maturity, both of these numbers added up, less the outstanding principal balance. Sure enough, that jives, equals the outstanding principal balance shown on the statement. And again, you have a sinking bond fund. So what I mean by that is at the end of the day, you're going to have right here a value totaling in negative 403,567. And you're going to have a number here would be the 314,800. And these two columns here are going to wash each other out. That represents the loan balance, escrow balance, and basis in title. So take a look here. What does this prove? As the late, great Howard Cosell once said off camera on mic, in response to a foul up, who goofed? I've got to know who goofed. What does this prove? Numbers are either random or they're computed in error or interlinked for certain purposes and or causes. Some might call that last cause of action a artificial intelligence program or collective group of calculations. Either way, these numbers are all linked, and that's the first purported cause of action that I'd ask a lawyer to consider if they're handling this account for a plaintiff or if they're bringing into court defenses as a defendant. The numbers discovered herein are essentially locked into one another as values, dates, and ratios. In other words, the servicing statement is not a servicing statement, but it provides the bond underwriters or the liquidators, the attorneys, the numbers they need to convert back into a mortgage, what is in essence really a bond, a 3-year bond. The cutoff date is from the servicing statement. We didn't do it. We didn't give it to you. They provided it to us based on our calculations. The cutoff date is from the servicing statement with the principal balance and the escrow reserve also shown, listed on the servicing statement. We had to have those numbers in order to make this happen. The discount is factored at 6.5%. That's shown on the statement. That tracks 3.38 years, and the borrower annual payments accrued capitalized at 6.5% for an amount of 403,567.5. That's the discounted rate and the principal balance. Here, I'm going to show you the conversion into a bond again. Cutoff date 9/1/22, date of the statement. The bond was for 403,567, which is the principal balance and the discount. The discount rate's 21.96, which is the 88,767.5, which was given to us as the escrow account. So the bid or ask price of the bond, what Bill is buying it for from Ann, in the original equation or example, is 314,800, the principal balance, and she's receiving back 403,567.5 at the 6.5% coupon. That's what allowed us to divide the discount rate by the coupon. That's where we came up with 3.38 as a term. 3.38 would adjust to a gross annual income of 26 $231.89 before fees, and that would be equal at term for the amount of back to 403,567.50, and that's by capitalization and backdating at a rate of 6.5%. This is fact. I mean, it is not coincidence. If it is, I'd be playing Cleopatra Keno every day because I'd be hitting the numbers with no problem. This is not random. It is not by error. It is all linked. And it is deemed fact sufficient to bring into court and to raise a substantive claim for mischaracterization and misappropriation and failure to state a claim. I'm not an attorney. Only an attorney can advise you of your rights and property and rights as a litigant. I am here to testify in your case, and I'd be more than happy to if you want to give me a call or leave a comment. Let's keep going. So you're asking, what's the big deal? Conversion of a mortgage into a bond by way of direct investment. Well, think about it. Conversion of a mortgage into a bond by direct investment. There is no mortgage to enforce. The bond issuer in this case is the consumer using their home as the bond's collateral and the time in the house as income paid to them, which means the livelihood, the borrower's livelihood in the borrower's home is being used as a bond issue. That's what the big deal is. Now you see the servicing statement. The escrow balance factored as a discount. That came from them on the servicing statement. That did not come from us. Okay? Escrow balance was on the servicing statement. And we divided it by a discount rate, 6.5. Did I make that up? No. It came from them on the servicing statement. And if we use three installments, break that into three installments with the excess going to fees, $10,000, that would total the escrow balance, which equals $1.2 million capitalized annually, and that would be equal to a principal balance plus escrow balance of $403,567.50. So the revolving balance here is not a revolving balance. That means that every year the 403,567.5, which is the installment, which is the escrow balance, plus the amount shown over here, 314 is the principal. That means that it's a recurring balance every year, and what that would total is over $1.2 million. Excuse me. So let's look at the breakdown. We have a cutoff date, which is the statement date on the servicing statement. That's confirmed by them, not by us. And if we take three annual installments of $26,231, actually four, but one gets reimbursed as a deposit. Three installments equals $78,695.66 plus fees, $10,000. There's your escrow balance, $88,767. So why don't they say, hey, that's not an escrow balance, it's a bond discount. Your borrower, your consumer is a direct investment. He's a bond issuer. Why don't they just tell us and allow the borrower to make a decision if that's okay with him, because it's not what he bargained for, it's not what he signed up for. A judge, a competent court's going to say, is this what you signed? Is this what you bargained for? No, it's not what he bargained for. It's what he signed for, but not what he bargained for. And if we take 10 years or 1095 days, that would take you from 9/1/22 out through 8/31/25, which means this is all deferred income and hasn't even been earned yet. They're trying to get the borrower out of the house, I think, in October. Take him to sale for something that is not even earned out yet, which means he still has an interest in credit. And there it is right there. And that's why the escrow balance shows as a negative number, which in this case is positive. It's a credit. So the best part about it is if you take that annual installment, which is the $26,231, remember 3 installments plus the fees equal the escrow balance. If you take 1 year of installment and you factor it at their rate, 6.5, it's a cap rate. That means that each year for 3 years, they're picking up $403,567. So that's $1.2 million that's being valued here on the borrower's dime and the borrower's property. But with fees, that was created from $314,800, which is an escrow balance. Interesting. Deceptive, concealed, disguised sale into a bond? I think so. And once again, we ask you to consider what's gone wrong. You've got off-balance sheet financing by the foreclosing parties and their attorneys, and it's marked by a compelled breach and a fictitious foreclosure. That means the borrower had to default. There's nothing to foreclose on. Here's the issues that we raise and that we ask your counsel to consider. If it's a government actor, the Department of Treasury and the IRS are involved for the collection of taxes on COD income and 1099, then what you have are bonds issued for public benefit using consumers' home. You have bonds issued that rely on the consumer's livelihood and taxpayer Form 1099. That would constitute, to me, something in the neighborhood of a punitive tax where the bonds are being used for public good. And you've got deadbeat bonds, what I call them, they're deadbeat bonds that are taxable, paid to the party in possession. Again, that's taxable as COD income. If this is for bank capitalization or recapitalization, you have servicing agents who are paying agents. They're federal withholding agents. They're not servicers. And the servicing statements, therefore, are mischaracterized. They have nothing to do with the mortgage servicing. They have to do with the bonds servicing. I might refer you to Kirby Lumber, United States Supreme Court decision, 1931, I believe it was, that explains why these are taxed. But you have servicing statements which are improperly or mischaracterized. And, of course, the method and means of enforcing a foreclosure are willfully deceptive. They are concealed. They are, without any doubt, clandestine and willfully deceptive. Okay? Those are issues. Just on the surface, those are issues. A good attorney will be able to share more with you on what he thinks he could make out of this case. But this is compelling, and it's prima facie, it's fact. Well, once again, I enjoyed my time spent with you. I hope you can say the same. I hope you get something out of this. You really have to watch this maybe a second time and be willing to stop it, take notes. Feel free to contact me. We're here to provide audits, the accounting, provide expert witness testimony to you or your counsel if you're currently fighting a foreclosure. We're not out to beat up lenders. We're not out to accuse anybody. We're just stating the facts as we see, as we find them, based on the evidence that we're provided. If you want us to look at your file, you're most welcome to send me at the email address, secondarytradedesk@gmail.com. Send me a recent servicing statement, and always ask for a payoff demand. We need to see a payoff demand to come up with something conclusive. And look forward to hearing from you. I'm M. Solomon, auditor, accounting, expert witness. Look forward to hearing from you. Take care.